The illusion of choice is something that every new Paladins player has to go through till they get good at the game. It's called an illusion of choice for a reason. You see, we have 45 champions to pick from. Each one has 3 talents or legendary cards. And each one also has 20 cards to fit in their loadouts. You can have 15 points in each loadout, and you have 6 loadouts slots to keep on each champion. So that's a lot of numbers, but in reality, 95% of those are bad. They're bad, just if you look at them, you'll know they're bad. So let's look at an example of this. Now, Paladins isn't exactly like CSGO and Valorant in terms of time to kill. Look at how long it takes to kill this bot, for example. I just spent like 20 bullets to kill that thing. So, by definition, what I mean by bad cards is something that does not give you any advantage whatsoever. So let's look at how fast I can bring up my iron sights, for example. That's fast, right? What if I told you there's a card that can make it faster? Would you run that card? Let's look at his cards for more info about this. It's this card. It's called Reflexes. Reduces the time it takes to bring up your iron sights. Now, the time to kill isn't really that long. It's 3 seconds almost. On damaged champions, it's 2 seconds on flankers. But bringing up your iron sights is not gonna do anything. It's really fast without having to use this card. So this card has been removed. We now have 19 cards to pick from. Now let's look at another bad card, for example, and we're gonna use it as we're gonna need to compare it to another one so that we understand what this means. Now look at this card, Run and Gun. Regenerate 4 ammo every second while you're running. So let's demonstrate how this works. We just wasted some ammo and start running. 21, 25, 29, and then 30. Why is this card bad? Why is it another piece of the illusion of choice? Let's go ahead and edit the loadout and use this card instead. It's called Fire in the Hole. And if you remember, the previous card was at 2 points, so I set this at the same value, 2. Okay, let's save it. And this bug is very common. If you get this, just clear all, delete the loadout, and then start again. We're gonna edit. This is at 2 points, the bad card. I'm gonna put Fire in the Hole at 2, the same amount of points, and demonstrate why this is better. Now, let's waste some ammo, and then this. And now I have all my ammo back. Why? Well, let's read the card. Generate 12 ammo for each enemy hit with the grenade. Why is this better? Well, the grenade is just like you throw it and it explodes, while the other card, let's go back and edit the loader again and see it. Where is it? Run and Gun. 4 ammo when at 2 points every second. So you can either generate 6 ammo per point instantly, or you'll have to waste seconds running and doing nothing but running to regenerate your ammo. So which one would you prefer? So this is obviously an illusion of choice. You would never ever run this card. There's literally no reason for it. Now, let's go ahead and show one more example with this card, On the Move. Now I'm gonna use another default loadout, which is, let's swap the loadout. Doesn't matter really. It's, I think, here, On the Move, this card. It says, after you use the frag grenade, you gain 24% movement speed, sorry. So let's go ahead and see how slow I am while I'm scoped. I'm basically as slow as a snail right now. But if I use the grenade, I'm just a little bit faster, but the card says that it only happens for a short time, which is 2 seconds. Really? 2 seconds? Now, let's go ahead and look at a different card. I'm just gonna edit this loadout again, just as I did with the first card we demonstrated. And let's see this one, Firing Stance. Now, I had 3 points before on the card that I just removed, which was On the Move, this one. And this card gives me 30% increased movement speed. Now, of course, any Victor player that watches this will tell you that there's a slight penalty on running while aiming with the scope. Yes, that's true. But this card really has more value out of it. 30%, even with the penalty, is more than 24%, which is this. Now let's go back and see how faster I am without having to do anything but have my scope on. So this is how fast I am right now. To compare it to how slow we were without this card, or even with 24% speed, this is still faster. So that's another card that we removed because it was an illusion of choice. And this isn't the only card. Let's look at another loadout. I'm just gonna switch to the default loadout for burst mode. This, hit and run. Now I'm just gonna use a term that's known in the community. It's called a pop-off card. A pop-off is kill someone or someone else kills them after you shot them, and then you'll get the benefit of the card. So unless you kill someone, 3 points are not being used in your loadout. There's nothing you're getting until you get a kill. So basically the definition of pop-off is, if you're already winning, win more. Now some champions require these cards. They can't live without them. They are basically useless without these cards, but not Victor, and simply not this card, because you can have 30% movement speed always while you're using your iron sights. Well, this requires you to get a kill and it only lasts 4 seconds. Of course, this is gonna be another illusion of choice. It's bad. So this was my idea of demonstrating the illusion of choice. Why is it such a big deal? Well, simply enough, because these three are the default loadouts you get. Now, I know we did some points out of them, like this card and this card, but these are the three default loadouts you get at the beginning of the game before you edit any of them or import someone else's loadout. Now, why am I keeping on saying illusion of choice? Well, basically, every single good Victor player uses burst mode, the talent that was on the left, with these cards, but they just, for example, move 1 point from this one to this one, or from this one to this one, or whatever. That's all. You have these 5 good cards. Now, there might be some others, you know, but you don't use them that much. They're not that viable. So, what exactly is the way that you should be dealing with the illusion of choice? Well, simple. Just join the official game Discord and go to the Paladins discussion channel and just ask anyone to give you their loadout and they'll just do it. Or, if you really want to read more stuff, you can just go on paladins.guru and look for a recent guide on that champion. But there is a real big issue with looking up guides on the internet, which is you probably are gonna get loadouts and guides from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, which won't fit the game right now. There's one last thing we need to address about loadouts, which is overshooting it. What do I mean by this? Let's go ahead and play this talent, Shrapnel, which just increases our grenade radius. Now, I'm just gonna look at the default loadout and focus on this one, Grenadier. Now, the grenade in your base kit has 8-second cooldown, so you can throw 1 grenade every 8 seconds. What this does is, if you hit one champion, your cooldown of 8 seconds gets reduced by 5 seconds. So you'll wait only 3 seconds before throwing another grenade. Okay, but let's demonstrate why this is a bad choice. Why running this card at 5 is bad. I'm just gonna hit these two, and I can immediately get another grenade in. Why? Because the card hit 2 champions, so I get 10 seconds off of my cooldown. Now, at 5, if I just hit one person, it's good. But in practice, you're always gonna be hitting 2 champions, especially if you're running Shrapnel, which you shouldn't really be doing since burst mode is better. But let's go ahead and check, what if we were running it at 4? I'm just gonna waste the remaining point on something else. So for now, I got the same effect. The very exact same effect. So don't overshoot your points. Another card that really has people overshooting is Compensator. This is perfectly fine at 3. It's even perfect at 2. Some people do prefer to run it at 2 and save the last point for something else. Now, Why would you never want to run compensator at 5? It simply makes your rifle a laser, but look at how much recoil I have. Basically none. Even on burst mode, with just 3 points on compensator, it's basically a laser already. Of course, you gotta wait a bit until iron sights happens. So don't overshoot your cards. There are limits on how much you should spend on each card. Now, of course, this is gonna be either up to you, your preference, or whether or not you wanna first use some training wheels on a certain champion or not. But always look up info like this. For example, Androxus, if you're familiar with that champion, has a card called Power of the Abyss. At 4, it will always reset the entire cooldown if it happens, if you activate the card. So you will never run that at 5, same as Grenadier here. And this is the idea of the illusion of choice in regards to talents and loadouts. We talked about the loadouts aspect of it, but we really need to specifically address Victor because he's the champion that lots of new players play and lots of them just keep on feeding and losing their games on him. Now, I'm gonna need to use the ranged indicators here. So between this pedestal and the next one is 50 units. The game uses this thing called units for distance. So this is 50 and this is 100, and then this is a little bit more between them. Now I'm just gonna start at the first pedestal and I'm gonna use cardio. Now cardio has the default weapon. Doesn't matter what loadout I'm gonna use. I'm gonna fire slowly so that I don't get a headshot by mistake. And I just wanna know at this range how many bullets it takes to kill that Victor. And I just used up 18 shots at this distance while I'm standing right here. I'm a little bit at the edge, but I'm not gonna move. I'm just gonna use burst mode now. Same loadout, doesn't matter really. And instead of using 18, I used 12. But in reality, I only used the first shot of the last 3 ones I shot. Okay, so let's go ahead and reduce the distance a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna try again. And he's just a little bit... he just has a little bit of health. So I really need only 10 shots, but I'll fire 12 anyway since I'm using burst mode. Now let's go back to cardio and see what difference it makes without the benefit of long range. And 17 bullets. So there are 5 bullets in difference and way more range on burst mode. So if you're running shrapnel, you're likely not going to be doing a lot of damage with your rifle. You're just going to be poking with it. You're going to use the 2 grenades to deal 1500 damage with 2 grenades and then finish off the rest with your rifle until the the cooldown of your grenade goes off again. So this is the idea of the illusion of choice between talents. One is so bad it's a meme, one is good and ran at really high elo games, and one is situational and can be good but still not preferred. Now there's one last aspect of the illusion of choice. I'm gonna look at 2 things first. The loadout, I have this card called Predator. Gain 40% lifesteal while you're using iron sights. This is good. This actually heals you for the same exact amount that cardio would heal you, but except you're shooting something here and you have to hit that thing while you're scoped in. Okay, so this is a source of lifesteal. Now there's another source of lifesteal, which is this item, which you always see on noobs that keep on buying it. This is one of the worst items in the game. Why? Because good players buy Cauterize. Look, Life Rip makes you heal yourself by shooting the enemy, but Cauterize reduces that healing up to 75%. So for example, if Life Rip, let's imagine it heals you for 1000, With Life Rip 3, it'll only heal you for 250, and there's no champion that can heal himself with Life Rip for 1000. None. The highest amount you can get of Life Rip is 270 on Bomb King. It doesn't matter, really. So, Cauterize disables this item. Next to it is the same concept. You have a card that heals you for 300 if you kill someone. Remember, if you're winning, let's win more. No, that doesn't work. This card will also be affected by Cauterize. So at the start of the game, Cauterize 1 makes this 225. And of course, the more you buy of Cauterize, I mean, the more the enemy has of Cauterize, the more it's gonna be reduced. Just keep in mind that if 2 people are shooting you with Cauterize 1, it's not gonna magically become Cauterize 2. It doesn't matter. The only Cauterize that will happen is the one that has the highest tier. It doesn't stack. So if 10 people are shooting you somehow, you're not just gonna be unable to heal. Okay, so you don't buy this. It's a noob item. There are certain champions that can benefit from it. Currently, Koga, which is a bad champion for the time. He might be enabled by Corvus, the new support, but that's not the topic we're talking about right now. And this is just bad, unless you're a support, which I'm not gonna be talking about. Okay, this card is really bad. This is Veteran. So if you get damaged and just stay out of combat for a while, you'll just start regaining health. This card just makes that regeneration faster, but it doesn't mean that you have to wait less out of combat. It's just bad. You never buy Veteran whatsoever. It's a draw pick. It's like, I want to tell my support that they suck. You buy this to tell them that they suck. Okay, Rejuvenate. This item is good on frontliners or tanks, as the community names them. Well, this increases your healing. And by the way, if Cauterize was at 25% and you magically have this tier 3 Rejuvenate, you'll only be getting 10% out of, reduced healing out of Cauterize. So this completely fights against Cauterize. So it's good, but you don't need it if you're playing a flanker or a damage. Unless maybe people who play with Corvus need to get some more healing, which is viable, or even on Genos sometimes. Well, so basically the green cards are bad. They're bad. This is the most viable one. It's also situational. It's more for tanks than anyone else. And that's it. Don't buy these 3. They're an illusion of choice as well. Now, there is also these 2 cards which I keep seeing being purchased for no reason, whether in team deathmatch or in siege or whatever mode people are playing in casual. This card will only affect certain champions on things that they put on the ground, like for example a turret from Barak, or a clone from Ying, or Luna from Io, her little doggy. Well, this card simply is useless no matter what tier you have on it, because 60% isn't anything really. And deployables like Barak has 1000 HP on his turret, if I remember correctly. So you just need to hit it like 2 times on any damaged champion anyway. So what's 60% gonna do? Nothing really. So you don't buy Bulldozer. It's like bad. Deft Hands. Why do Victor players even buy this? You need to waste 250 credits that you could have been saving to buy the next tier of Cauterize. Don't buy Deft Hands as Victor. The champions that buy Deft Hands are Maldamba, and if you're a dumb Dredge player, you buy Deft Hands because that's the wrong way to play Dredge, and Dredge is bad either way. And maybe if if BK's current nerf that's being suggested by the AOFC goes through, you're gonna buy Deft Hands on, and that's it. If you're a bad Drogoz player, you're gonna buy Deft Hands. If you're that weirdo that plays stairs as a damage with a bad loadout, you're gonna buy Deft Hands. It's bad. It's like really bad. It has some champions that need it, like Maldamba, which gets really high benefit from it, but most other champions just don't. You don't need this. Don't buy deft hands, no matter what. Okay, so these items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are also an illusion of choice. You don't need these on most champions. Even Wrecker isn't required in the current meta, since there aren't many shields to even use this card on. So basically, this video was about the illusion of choice. You need to stop being fooled by default loadouts. Don't use them. Don't play them. And we've explained some mechanics and talked a little bit about what you should do and what you should not ever think about doing in this game. Hope you enjoyed this and got some benefit out of it, and enjoy your games. And don't be toxic, no matter how many people are throwing in this game by doing these things like buying this, and these two. Don't be toxic to them. Just tell them to go find a guide, not this one, any other one. There are a lot of better guides out there, and maybe you'll just help him enjoy the game even better. Good luck, and see you later.